Okay, today we're going to walk through the steps on how to make a hexa-hexa-flexagon. The hexa stands for 6 faces and the other hexa stands for 6 sides. It's a 6-sided flexagon. All right, so the first thing you're going to need is to have all your supplies. You need sheetrock tape, which you can get at any store. Remember, it's the kind of tape, it doesn't have any adhesive on it. It's not sticky tape, it's just a roll of skinny paper. Rubber cement, which is good for adhering paper to other paper, scissors, napkins or paper towels of some sort so that you can kind of keep the area a little neater, 6 different kinds of wrapping paper, and wrapping paper works a lot better than like construction paper or any kind of thick paper. Be sure that your 6 papers that you choose are different enough from each other that you can clearly tell them apart. If they're a lot alike, it becomes confusing. You need a pencil and a marker. Usually a dark marker is best. And then you'll be provided in class with 2 triangle patterns, one small, one large. And here we go. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is trace the larger triangle pattern onto the sheetrock tape. You need 19 triangles in total, and that counts the ones that are upright and downright. Now, this may seem pretty simple, and it is. The issue is you need to make sure that you're actually tracing them carefully, because if you're sloppy and you're tracing or you're folding, it will become harder to manipulate your hexa-hexa-flexagon. So you want to kind of take your time and do it right. Now when you trace the very next triangle, leave a little bit of space there before you trace the next triangle so that there's room to fold. And so you're going to do 19 of these triangles. Now, when I say 19, this counts as a triangle, this counts as a triangle, and this counts as a triangle. So I've actually done 3 triangles even though I've only traced 2. So you're going to go all the way across one side of your sheetrock paper with 19 triangles. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've already done 5. All right. Now, you're going to keep going until you get to 19, but I'm just going to stop here for time's sake. You're going to fold along the triangle edges and then use the folds to define the triangles on the back. And so what that means is instead of drawing them on the front and then drawing them on the back as well, if you draw them nicely on the front and then fold them, and I would fold them forward and backward so you get nice defined folds. Again, the folds really help later when you're trying to manipulate the hexa-hexa-flexagon, and it'll make it a lot easier to get all the sides. I mean the faces. Okay. So as I'm folding, I'm being careful on my edges and on where the vertexes are, the vertices. Okay. So if you'll notice, as I'm folding the front along the lines, I'm coming up with the actual triangles on the back as well. So that's kind of a way to save you a little bit of paper. Okay, so after the folds are done, you're going to number according to the pattern that you're given in class. Pay attention especially to the direction of the triangles and the relationship between the front and the back. And the reason for that is because if you get your numbering wrong now, your whole hexa-hexa-flexagon will not work well. So here is the pattern. So on the front, where the triangle is facing up, so the vertex is at the top, you're going to start with number 1. And then number 2, then number 3. And you're going to repeat the 1, 2, 3 pattern 6 times. So 1, 2, 3 with the 1 facing up, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now remember, the second one isn't facing up, but just all that matters is how you started. And then 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. And I'm sure by now you've noticed that 6 times 3, 6 sets of 3 is only 18, but I asked for 19 triangles. That last triangle needs to be just marked with an X or left blank because it's important to put the whole hexa-hexa-flexagon together. Now after you've numbered 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 with the first triangle facing up, I want you to take your strip and flip it over like this. And the reason you need to flip it and not just turn it is because the numbering has to go in this way. So on the back of number 1 is going to be an X. on the back of the number 2 is going to start a new pattern. 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6. 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, and 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6. Now, the last 6, if you flip your paper over, should be where the X triangle was. So again, that flipping is important, not turning it like a page. Okay? So once you have all of these numbered, okay, then you're going to trim the edges. You're going to use the smaller triangles that were provided to you to trace triangles onto wrapping paper to glue onto these different areas, okay? You're only going to glue the triangles on one side of the sheetrock strip, and then so that you can let it dry sufficiently. And then each paper is corresponding to a particular number. So all of the number 1s on here should have the same paper. All the number 2s should have the same paper pattern, and so forth. You're going to allow it to dry and then flip it over and do the other side later. Okay, so when we're tracing the smaller pattern, which in our case happens to be a green one, it depends on the kind of paper that you use. If you care about a particular design being on, being in the triangle instead of just randomly, if you wanted the snowflake in there, then you would trace on the front of your wrapping paper to get that design. But if it doesn't really matter, like this one, for example, it doesn't really matter. It's actually a little bit easier to see your pattern if you trace it on the back, and you don't have to worry about those pencil marks being on your triangle. Okay, so you're going to trace it on there, and again, you need 6 of them. I'm just going to show one for time. You want to try to trim it as close to the actual markings that you made as possible. And again, like I said, it's easier to see it on the back than on the front. So now I have one. You'd need 6 of these. So if this is going to be my number 1 pattern, I'm going to glue it onto that. And it's a little bit better idea to glue the small triangle rather than putting glue all over your sheetrock tape. Because when you do that, then there's a lot of excess glue that gets everywhere. And then when you're folding it, the glue sticks the sides together and you can't get to it. So I would use a plate or aluminum foil or wax paper or something like that to protect your work area that you're on. All right, so then when you're setting it down on there, you want to try to get it on there even. And if you'll notice, the triangle that I just traced is a little bit smaller than the triangle on the sheetrock. And that's on purpose because when you fold it, you don't want the paper going all the way to the edge because then it'll get kind of caught up in your folds. Now, once you put it on there, this is where the napkin comes in. You can kind of smooth it out, and plus the napkin kind of takes up the extra rubber cement that might squeeze out of the edge. You don't need a whole lot. So anyway, you would do all of your 1s, and then a new pattern would be all of your 2s, and then a new pattern would be all of your 3s, and then another time after it's dry, you would do a new pattern with your 4s and 5s and so on. And remember, the back is going to look a little different than the front because of the pattern. All right, so then after both sides have dried, at least an hour, then you're going to fold it according to the pattern that you're given, and I'll demonstrate that. Glue those last little X sides together so that your whole hexa-hexa-flexagon has been assembled. Make sure there's not any extra glue. Okay, so this one has not been completely glued yet as far as all of the sides, but I just want to demonstrate how to fold it once all your paper is on there. So whatever the second one is on the side that you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, you're going to fold the 3 behind the 2. Okay, so this will be 1, 2, 3. You're going to fold the 3 behind the 2. Then you're going to kind of do a little round and around and around fold. Okay, and again, if your folds are nice and crisp, this folding right here becomes very easy. It's not loopy. Okay, so now you have this long, this long pattern, and you're going to take your 3 and fold it under your 2, and as you notice, you're going to start to see a whole face of 2. Take your 3 fold it under the 2, whatever that third side is. And again, you start seeing a lot of 2s together. Okay. And then this last piece, you tuck in front of your 1. And if you'll notice, look, the 2 blank sides that you need to glue together will happen to be right next to each other. So you'll have a side that's all the same and another side that's all the same. So I'll do that one more time real quick, and then we'll show you how to use the hexa-hexa. So we have this long strip on the side that's 1, 2, 3, and you're going to fold the 3 under the 2, and then you're just basically going to wrap the paper around and around and around like this, and around. All right, and then when you get this long strip and it's nice and flat, like you want it to be flat, then your 2s are fine. You want your 3s, which aren't part of this pattern, to go behind. And then your 2s are fine, and you want this 3 pattern, whatever that is for your case, to go behind. And then if you'll notice, this 2 was hidden underneath, and you'll see it on yours. And so all your 2s are on this side. And when you flip it over, that you're going to glue this side to this side, the 2 blank sides together. And you should have a whole face that's one on one side and a whole face that's another. Okay, after you're done, it'll look something like this. So the very first face that you have, go ahead and number it 1. It's okay if it wasn't originally 1, maybe it was 3 or 4, it doesn't matter. What matters is that the first face you see should just be labeled with 1 with a marker. So then I'm going to show you how to fold it, and each face you get to label it with a new number. So it might be, the next would be number 2, then 3, then 4, and so forth. As you're manipulating it, flatten each face, that way you can improve the ease of manipulating. So this is 1. So you're going to choose a fold right here, and you push it together. And then on the left side, you're going to push this in such that it makes sort of like the letter T, okay? And then you just gently open it. And again, I've already manipulated this, so this would be your number 2, but I just happen to have already done it. Then you're going to push it together, and you'll renumber this side. And you'll take that same side that you folded before and try to open it. If it doesn't open, just go to the very next fold. Okay, you'll get a new side. And this is my side 2. And you just kind of keep practicing this folding. This happens to be my side 6. That didn't work. And so you just keep unfolding. We got this. 2, 3, 4. And then 2. 2 seems to come up a lot, but that's okay. You just kind of keep doing. And 5. All right. And you're just going to kind of keep this practice going. Okay. Now, one of your grades in this project is that you have to be able to reveal all 6 faces within 60 seconds. And again, it's actually, you should be able to do it within 30 seconds if you just use the folding pattern. All right. So we'll start with this one. And we'll start the time now. Okay, so we have side 6, sides 1 and 6, sides 1, 2, and 6, 1, 2, 3, and 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, and we only need number 5, and we still have several seconds left. And so we just keep folding, and there it is. All right, and that was about 24 seconds or so. All right, good luck.